As leaders, it's imperative that you create a vision for yourself for the year, but also to work with your team to create a vision for the year as a team. In doing so, you have one holistic goal you are working towards and can reflect on this at the end of the year to see whether you've met that goal or not. So, in this episode, I'll be sharing the steps you can take to create your leadership vision for 2026. Now, if you didn't listen to last week's episode, which was episode number 144, I'd highly recommend that you do that because in this episode, we do need the reflection. In that episode, we did a reflection of the year, and you'll need that reflection to move forward with your vision. So we reflected on your individual growth, your team's performance, and your leadership effectiveness, which we'll use in today's episode in creating your vision. Now, I just wanted to quickly say, quick disclaimer, that the episode that I'm going to play now is a rerun from an episode I did last year. So if it says 2025 in the episode, just make it relevant for 2026 because everything is exactly the same and still relevant for you moving forward this year. So I hope you enjoy this episode and I can't wait to see or hear from you about what your vision and your team's vision is for 2026. Do you wish that you could lead your team in a way that honors and glorifies God? Are you struggling to overcome self-doubt as a leader and have a desire to be more confident in your role? Welcome to the Woman of Faith in Leadership podcast. I'm Rika, and for the last decade, I've experienced my fair share of managing challenging employees and teams in middle management leadership roles. I committed my leadership journey to God, and it changed everything. And I'm ready to share everything I've learned with you. Now, if you're ready to lead your team in a way that honors God, grab that notebook and pen, and don't forget your chai latte, and let's dive in. Now, if you didn't listen to the last week's episode, which was episode number 92, I'd highly recommend that you do so. In this episode, we did a reflection on the year. We reflected on your individual growth, your team's performance, and your leadership effectiveness. And we'll be using that today in creating your vision. So if you've not done the reflection yet, then I highly recommend that you pause this episode now, go and do the reflection, and then come back again. Now, taking your reflection, I'd like for you to have a look at the things that didn't go so well this year. It's not very nice to always focus on those negative things, but the only way we can make improvements is by actually focusing on those things that did not go so well so that we can improve on them. The last thing I want for you is at the end of every single day, as you drive home and you feel inadequate about this thing that you are struggling with. Let's say, for example, you didn't prioritize your mental and physical well-being last year. Well, the last thing I would like for you at the end of every single day is feeling absolutely mentally and physically drained because of your role. And feeling as if you just can't carry on, feeling as if you're about to head to burnout stations, okay? Burnout Island. I don't want that for you. So what I want you to do is, and that was just one example, we're going to look at a couple more, but what I'd like for you to do is to go and make a separate list of all the things that did not go so well last year. Okay, there might only be one thing on that list, there might be 15 things on that list. Doesn't really matter how many there are. There's no right or wrongs here. But after you've added them to a separate list, what I would like for you to do is to prioritize these from most to least important to work on. So let's say there's 8, then you can maybe just go and put a number 1 to 8 next to the ones that you would like to prioritize the most, 1 being the highest priority, 8 being the lowest priority. Now, let's see in these 8 or 15 or 20 or 1 idea that you have, if you can find an overarching idea or like an overarching focus, something that you need to work on. So let's say, for example, most of your list includes inadequacies regarding your leadership skills. Then you know that your overarching improvement will have to be leadership skills. So there might be various things on the list that is with regards to your leadership skills. It might be dealing with difficult people. It might be hiring and firing people, if that's part of your role as well. It could be dealing with your CEO. If you're a middle manager, dealing up, maybe that's difficult for you. But all of that is all the overarching idea there is your leadership skills or your leadership. Let's say, for example, so I've got another example for you. It could be that most of your list includes a lack of boundaries. Then you know that boundaries is going to be that overarching improvement for the year. So some examples on that list might include things like exhausted every single day, feeling like a failure, um, trouble at home with the family because the family wants you to work less, or let's say, for example, your partner or your husband's pushing you to leave your job because they feel like so much of your time goes to work. So have a think about your list, and if I could read through your list, I would happily help you to come up with an overarching idea. But then, so for example, let's say it's boundaries, then you know the boundaries are going to be the thing that you're going to be working on. And one more example is that you want to feel confident in your leadership in 2025. So let's say, for example, confidence is the biggest thing that comes up. So let's say, for example, dealing with difficult people, and you've written there specifically that you feel timid, or there's a lack of confidence or self-doubt in there. So yes, there might be two overarching ideas, because dealing with difficult people can be a leadership thing, but it can also be a confidence thing. So again, there might be two overarching ideas, there might only be one. If there's one, or if there's two, you can maybe decide on, okay, maybe we're going to focus on leadership but with a tinge of confidence, or you can put them together, becoming a confident leader. So yeah, it's all just going to depend on what your list contains and where you'd like to go with that. Okay. You also do need to feel a little bit uncomfortable with this. I'm not going to say you need to feel comfortable with this, because we cannot grow in our comfort zone. We need to feel a little bit uncomfortable with this. We need to feel like, oh, this is pushing me a little bit beyond where I feel a little bit uncomfortable. I don't want to push you to a place where you feel so out of your comfort zone that you're just going to give up. I also don't want that. There needs to be a bit of a balance of, okay, I'm really scared to do this, but I know I need to do this to be a better leader. Okay, so a little bit of discomfort is a very good thing. Okay, so your next step is going to be to write a vision statement. And you can brainstorm here a bit until you are completely happy with it. Okay, but make sure that your list above, or that overarching idea, is realistic. And that it's actually something that you can make improvements to. It can't be fluffy and not specific. It needs to be something that's specific, like leadership skills or confidence or boundaries. There's actually so many more things that can be an overarching ideas. Those are just the three that I'm going to go with for now. So vision statement can be something like, my vision for 2025 is to become a more confident leader. That's it. Or you can say something like, my vision for 2025 is to create boundaries between my personal and professional life, or to set boundaries with my team, or to improve my leadership skills and become a more confident or competent or better leader, or to feel more confident in my own leadership ability. So I gave a lot of variations of that vision. It's not one vision, it's a lot of variations of that same vision. So yeah, let's use that first one as an example. My vision for 2025 is to become a more confident leader. Okay, well then what I would like for you to do is, you're now going to put that, if you like mind mapping, I absolutely love mind mapping. I would like for you to put that on an A3 paper or on a whiteboard in the middle. My vision for 2025 is to become a more confident leader. Okay. The next thing that you're going to do is, you're going to go and find out the how. How are you going to achieve this? Because remember, at the end of the year, we do want to go and reflect on that vision. And yes, a lot of that is going to be like, do I feel more confident? Okay. But you can actually tangibly check whether you were more confident or not, because we're going to tell you the how now. We're going to get to the how. And then at the end of the year, you're going to use that how to figure out, or to reflect on, did I actually achieve this vision? Okay, it's very similar to a goal. And something that I would like to highly encourage you is to go and listen to episode 34. Episode 34 is going beyond boring goals with your team. Okay, this is the exact same process you can follow for yourself as well, because we don't want a boring vision, but a vision typically needs to be converted into a goal if you really want to achieve it. Okay, so what you're going to mind map is you're going to mind map a couple of bullet points or a couple of points around your vision on how you are going to achieve this goal. So, for example, if it was boundaries or if it was time management, it could be something like the how is time blocking, or it could be something like leaving your laptop at work. Okay, that's scary. I know that that's very scary. But even if you just say, I'm going to leave my laptop at work 5 times a week or 3 times a week. So again, be specific, write it down. Maybe other nights you do have to take your laptop home, but maybe there's some nights that you don't have to and you can actually prioritize your family. So you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone here and just get it done. Okay. Okay, when it comes to your leadership skills, are you going to attend a leadership workshop? Okay, maybe you're dealing with difficult people, could be plan before every single meeting with a difficult person. Or, for example, if a difficult person catches you, while you are, let's say, walking to a break or walking to your lunch break or something like that, and they've got something difficult something to say to you and you don't know how to react and then you react incorrectly, is your how is going to be not saying anything and just getting back to that person, or maybe having a line to say, I will speak with you later. I'm just about to go to my lunch. So something like that, but you're going to have to come up with a strategy of something that you're going to say, something that you're going to do, and then how you're going to do it. Okay? So for example, let's say one of your visions is to become a servant leader, then the how is to prioritize your team's needs. But again, that's a very big thing to say. You're then going to have to say, but how are you going to do that? And then how are you going to make sure that your needs as a leader and the things that you actually have to do, how are you going to still get that done if you are serving your team in this manner? So be very specific here. That's why a mind map is really good, because you can map it all out, whether it's on a paper or on a whiteboard. If it's on a whiteboard, make sure you snap a photo before it gets rubbed out or wiped out. Maybe a piece of paper is a really good one, because then you can stick that somewhere. You can then transfer that over to, if you want, you can keep the mind map, or you can maybe just put it into a nice Canva document. Canva is a really amazing free software that you can use. There are some paid features, which I use, but before I actually paid for it, I used to use it in my work all the time. Just the free version is actually absolutely perfect. So you can put it in a nice Canva document. They have got thousands of free templates that you can use. You can put your vision, print it out, laminate it, make it pretty, put it somewhere where it's going to be easy for you to see on a daily basis, okay? But just be mindful, because if you look at it every single day, it's going to become wallpaper and just background noise. You'll look past it. So my suggestion, and that's where I really highly recommend episode 34 with those goals, is because you're going to then follow the same steps that you would follow with your team. You're going to follow them with yourself. So, for example, have check-ins with yourself to see how are you going. Those hows that you've said that you were going to achieve, have you done them? And then with goals as well, we do need to set a time frame of when we're going to do that. So, for example, attending a leadership workshop. Well, it doesn't help you start thinking about attending a leadership workshop in July. Maybe you need to start thinking about attending a workshop in January so that you can see what workshops are out there for the year. Just maybe it has to do with your budget. In Australia, our financial year ends on the 30th of June. So I might go and have a look in March to see what money I have in my budget left and if I can afford it. If not, then I'm going to make sure before I submit my budget for July that I actually add a leadership course that I want to attend to my budget, or that I submit that to my line manager so it can be included in the budget. So keep these sort of things in mind. I wouldn't wait until the end of or until the middle of the year to start thinking about these things, because then it might actually be too late. In South Africa, the end of the financial year is March. So then maybe the beginning of the year is a good time to have a look to see if there's any money in your budget left. Maybe it's too late. Maybe you already needed to start looking. Maybe you're now going to have to wait until the new financial year to see if there's any allocation. If there's no allocation, well, then there's a lot of free courses you can actually also attend.
There are some free courses out there, especially online. There's a lot of amazing YouTube videos. And of course, a lot of this podcast is similar to a leadership course, but I know that because it's a podcast, it won't really count for you towards those hours. So if a leadership course from me is something that you feel that would be a good, obviously it would be a paid course, then shoot me an email, support@rikawhelan.com. I might start thinking about creating a course if that's something that the listeners want. I'm not going to create something that is not wanted. So let's see. Go and set those due dates, create those action steps, and then keep yourself even more accountable. Okay, so that's going to be how you're going to create your vision for the year. And then at the end of the year, you're going to go and do the end of year review, which is the previous episode I did, where you're going to go and ask yourself those end of year review questions. And you're going to apply that to your vision as well to see if you have actually met your vision for the year or not. Okay, the same process just goes over and over again every single year, goes in a cycle. And that's the beauty of this process, because what you do this year is going to help you next year, is going to help you next year, is going to help you next year. So I'd like for you to follow the same process with your team. Okay, go on. What you did in last week's episode is you did the team performance, where you had a look at their accomplishments, their challenges, and their team dynamics. Now go and report back to your team and say, this is what I found in my yearly reflection regarding our team's performance. How do you feel about that? Is this an accurate representation of what the team looked like last year? Then from there, let them do it. Identify those weak spots. And then from there, using those weak spots, prioritize what they want to focus on for next year. And then create that vision statement and then mind map how that is going to be achieved. And then finally put it into a goal format, because if we have goals, we can be kept accountable for them. So I would like to thank you all so very much, and I'd like to pray for you. Dear Lord, I come today and I bring these amazing female Christian leaders to you today. I pray, Lord, as they work through their vision, that you would be close by, and that they would pray as they also create their vision. I pray, God, that they will know that their vision is not just their own vision, but it's also your vision. And that as female Christian leaders, we've got a responsibility not only towards ourselves, but towards our team and towards our families. And I pray, God, that on a daily basis, that these amazing female Christian leaders would put on the armor of God, and so that they would know, God, that you are with them and that you have given us authority in this world, and that we are worthy as leaders because you have called us into those leadership positions. I pray, God, for them for confidence. I pray that they would overcome their self-doubt. And I pray, God, that no matter what they do today, that it will be for the glory of God. I pray this all in your mighty name. Amen. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I cannot wait to share the next episode with you. All the best. Speak soon. Bye. Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts? It would mean so much to me to read your feedback. Also, it would really bless me big if you shared this episode with a fellow leader who might benefit from hearing today's message. And remember, put on the armor of God daily and walk by faith and not by sight. I'll meet you back on Monday for another episode.